Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Intelligent Moron podcast. I am your host, Alex Silva. Thank you so much for clicking, for tapping, whatever you did to get to this link, the podcast feed, YouTube video, whatever you did. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. And for those of you who know me, you know what I do, you know what I've been doing, you know who I am. Pretty much everything is out there already. For those that don't, though, let me give you a little bit of an explanation of who I am and what I will be doing on this podcast. So I did a podcast. First of all, hello. I did a podcast for 2 years with my friends and my brother called Out of the Ordinary Friends podcast. And we did that from January 2019 to January 2021. We just ended a great run with the guys. We had a lot of fun, a lot of shit talking, a lot of debates, arguments, conversations. We spent a lot of times through holidays, birthdays, this goddamn pandemic, everything we've just been through, the ringer pretty much. And I just want to say a big thank you first to all those guys who I did the podcast with. Thank you so much. I had so much goddamn fun with it. It was a time of my life. And I, in the midst of it, I found, I love doing podcasts. I love podcasting. I love talking. I love talking to people. I love, conversation. I love debating. I love it all, really. And it's just like, what it did was it set like a spark off in my, myself. And I'm like, you know what? I never really listened to podcasts all that much before I did a podcast. But now that I did a podcast for like like I said, 2 years, I'm pretty sure we never took a break. Even though during the pandemic and all, we never took a break. We never really, I got sick maybe for like a few episodes, but that was way back in 2019 when I had the flu, so that wasn't too bad. But been doing it pretty consistently. So, this past 2 years, and I just found a love in it, man. I like doing it. I like talking, and I hope to grow this podcast, and I hope to be able to talk to other people and to be, just open doors and open conversation and open debate or open, maybe even like shit talking. I describe the Intelligent Moron podcast to, a no business, all fun, very, very juvenile podcast where we can just, shoot the shit, talk about anything you want that's happening on planet Earth and, potentially beyond. And I just want to be like I plan to release these midweek, maybe like Thursday. I think, Thursday. I'm going to release this on the same day I record, which is February 4th, I believe. And I just want to be like the voice on the road when you're at work, whatever, doing, your day job or whatever you do. I just want to be, I feel like podcasting, especially during the pandemic, is super, well, for me, I listen to about like 2 or 3 podcasts a day, maybe one specifically, but like I usually listen to at least one podcast a day. And I feel like when, if I'm doing like chores or work or, maybe working outdoors or whatever, I feel like it's just it's a fun little companion to, maybe get your mind going depending on what kind of podcast you like. And I think this podcast will be able to entertain people. I think I could have a lot of people on it. I think I can have, I love doing it. So I feel like, why not just pursue something that I like to do? So that's what I aim to do with this. I want to have guests on. I want to have other people on. It's a bit tough with Corona now, but I think whenever, things open up and whenever everybody gets vaccinated, let's open it up. I don't particularly like Zoom anymore. I did do a podcast for like 50, close to 50 episodes on it, maybe even more. And I just, I think Zoom has kind of run its course. Like we're all kind of really, really tired of using Zoom and using like Skype and whatever. And the fact that, it's just like, you go this long without actually seeing somebody or seeing their face or seeing like a family member or seeing somebody else, and only seeing them like through Zoom or FaceTime or Skype, phone call, text, whatever it is. It's just like, it's hard to really get a connection. And with this podcast, I hope to get I really want to get a good connection with people, and I want to have fun with them, and I want to, talk some stuff with them, whether it be, I got some takes on sports. I really like sports. I wanted to get into sports and stuff like that. And I'm like, what I can do? Maybe I can voice my takes on this podcast. I want to say some opinions on news stories. particularly fun news stories. I don't really want to get into politics all that much, so unfortunately, I will not be getting into politics. Hurrah! I feel like politics and policies and the way that the world works and all that, and the way how everything gets passed and elections and all that, I feel like I don't really want to talk about that because I don't think that I'm capable or in the position to talk about policy that affects other people's lives. I just don't think I am. I live in a pretty decent, environment. I feel like I don't really have a lot of problems. I don't really need to say anything about like how other people should live their life or how I think that they should deal with social, things or political things. I don't feel like I have that position to do it. So, with that being said, I am not going to talk about any or, pretty much any politics on this podcast. So, if I lost some of you, I'm sorry, but if, you're just here to have fun, I'm happy you're here. But yeah, like I was saying about Zoom and all, really want to get into interviewing people, having a conversation. I feel like it's nowadays it's kind of important to do that because I just feel like there's a lot of people out there that you haven't talked to and you don't know who they are or who they're about, and that's always a nice thing to do, is that like, because I was never really the outgoing person, the outspoken kid growing up. I was always really the shy kid. I was always really like kind of like I never really my goal was to not speak at all in school, go to school, not speak, come back and play video games. Do that. That was my main goal in school from like I'm going to say from like kindergarten to like I don't know, like fifth grade, maybe fifth grade, fourth grade. No, third grade, because in fourth grade I had a really fun class, a really fun teacher, and that was when I was able to kind of get out of my shell a bit. The people who know me and who know that you went to school with me, you kind of knew that, and you kind of knew that even in that was like one of my favorite years of school. After that, it was never really as fun. So then I kind of went back into the shell, and then you move up in life, fifth grade, sixth grade, junior high, back where I live, not middle school, and then you get to high school, and then you're like, wait a minute, like I knew these guys, but now it's like now I don't know these guys, because sometimes you grow up and then you get like this it's like you almost get like divided into like these groups and stuff. Because when I was before I get into high school, I was in fifth grade, and I decided to pick band over choir, and then immediately I lost some of my friends. Like some friends were like, okay, you're gonna do band, I'm gonna do choir. Like not like lose them, but like they were like, okay, well we're being like it's a fun extracurricular activity where we could supposed to be having fun and learning things on the way, but then it's like, well, I could be learning in this and having fun with my friend, but I'm not. And then so that's like the planted seed that happens like when you're growing up, especially, and how your social like interacting happens. I think from my experience, in my own way. And then I think that when you get into junior high, that kind of takes shape and more, because some of them, like, okay, in fifth and sixth grade, band is supposed to be it's a learning, you learn, you hang out with friends, and you don't do like the basic math, English, history, science classes and all that. You kind of break away from that and do something else. So like with band, it was like you learning a whole new thing and starting from level 1 with people. Maybe some kid played the recorder, the piano before that and kind of knew it, but like the majority of the kids didn't know what they were doing. Like especially like because I play trumpet, and that's a pretty hard instrument to pick up and stuff like that. And it's I'm not saying that other instruments are easier, but I felt like with me in particular, I had a lot of trouble with it, especially like playing high notes and all that, because even though like in fifth grade you didn't really play high notes, I mean, when you grew up you did, and I was just not very good at it, and it was not. At times it became less fun, and other people had more fun, and then the teacher kind of was like, maybe practice more, and I did practice and stuff like that, but then after a while I got better, and then I was able to finally be on the same level as those kids. But like back to socially, things in high school. So when that happens in high school, in particular, you meet these friends, and you grow up together. Maybe through band, maybe through other classes. Because when I grew up, a lot of my friends in my that I grew up with, like in kindergarten and all that, they were more and more likely to not be in my classes. So I had to stay in band to see them. And then, like, I know, like, in high school, I've said it on the Out of the Ordinary Friends podcast, when it got to being more and more like a, almost like a job in a way, because you had to be so good at what you did. It's almost like, I've been watching these videos on YouTube about high school football, and it's called, like, it's Deion Sanders' son's team. And the coaches get really tough, as Deion's like really tough with him and all that. And I'm like, I'm kind of comparing it to, like, almost like high school football mentality. It's almost like, because I grew up in a high school football, town, and that was like the big thing and all that, So I kind of knew that the football players were getting chewed out. We were getting chewed out in a more constructive way of criticizing them. Like, no, run faster. No, do this. No, do that. Oh, you got to play that better. Maybe if you practice more, you'd be able to do that. Oh, you can't even play this, scale. How could you play that? Whatever, like that. And I'm not saying that they said the exact same thing that I just said, but it's something like along the lines of that. So in a way, like, when you develop these relationships with people and friends, and then you kind of get your mannerisms right. You know how to read friends. You know how to, like, there was like people that I knew, like, in band and in school, and even growing up after high school, you get a social cue, not a social, but like you get like this mannerism thing. You get this tone in their voice. How they feel about things and how they act in a thing. Maybe they would, like, bat their eyes or nod their head or shake their head or whatever. And you kind of got a cue of how that person felt about what you said or what you did, or how you acted in a way maybe you shouldn't have, or you did, something to offend them. And then you kind of pick that up, and you kind of, like, say, you know what, I'm not going to make that joke, or I'm not going to say that thing, or I'm not going to do that thing around that person, because I don't like the way that makes them feel. Because, when you're growing up, you're grown to treat people nice, to do that. And I feel like when you learn those lessons in school and you apply them into life, that all builds up to how you interact with people in the real world, and how you walk around and talk to people, and how you do all the things that you do and all that. And I feel like with this sudden stop in the Corona era, the amount of talking and seeing people has dipped quite a bit. Because, okay, like, I'm not going to necessarily go and see a friend because, well, I don't want to get sick. It's not necessarily like I don't want to get sick, but I have some people in my life that I don't want to get them sick. Like, I don't want to be a burden and get somebody else sick, because then that affects their life and all that, and I just don't want to do that. Now, within that being carefulness and not caring for other people, you also get this, thing like, you can't see anybody, can't talk to anybody. And before Corona hit, me and my group of friends would get together pretty much every weekend and talk the shit and play games and do stuff and have some drinks and have fun and do things, go to the movies, go out to eat and do other things together. When you stop that abruptly, and it's been going on for so long, I almost am in, like, a fear and a shock to kind of see how it becomes when we get back together, because of how long we've been apart from one another. So when I was doing the podcast with Out of the Ordinary Friends, we all kind of felt like sometimes you just can't vibe the same as you do in person. And that is like, oh my God, it is some of the worst things ever. Is because, like, when you know that you're trying to make a joke across, or you're being sarcastic, even though we are on Zoom, and even though that we are seeing each other and hearing each other, it still doesn't come across just as good as being face to face. It just does not. And I've realized that that's just one of the big things that I've noticed about people, and about, you watch, like, thank God, like Joe Rogan does his podcast, and for the majority of the time, he does it very safely. He tests people and all that, and he has people in, does his interviews and all that, and he does a very good job at doing that. I just want to be able to do that again. I want to be able to talk to people, interact with people, go out to dinner with people and all that, and do that stuff again. Hopefully that can happen, and hopefully that can come soon, because Zoom and remote stuff is getting pretty bad. I mean, I know my brother is going to school and he does it all remotely, and it's like, dude, I don't even know if you learn, bro. Like, so much of going to school and learning is all face to face and hands on, and like, I'm just thinking, like, dude, like, there's no way that a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of college kids are going to be paying, if you're going to a big school, like $50,000 plus in tuition just to, go to a Zoom meeting. I don't see that, being like lasting all that long. I don't know if schools are actually like being attended to, like classes are in session. I have no idea, but I just like because he was during the fall semester this past 2020, he was doing it, and I'm like, there's no way. And he did it pretty well. Like, he was able to deal with it, but I can't imagine like other kids like not being able to get that interaction and not being able to have that, not crutch, but like the reliance of other kids in school, because I feel like a lot of learning and all that is done through, and I might be wrong on this, but I feel like a lot of learning can be done through competition and trying to be smarter than the kid next to you or behind you or in front of you or whatever. I felt like that is kind of a big thing because, one, you get to show off, like, if you're smart, even though like you're in school and you're in a classroom and you're supposed to be not really like joking around or, doing something that's going to distract kids. It's hard to be 100% like robotic and just learn things. Like, it's really hard to do that. It's like we're not perfect, soulless, emotionless things. We're fucking human beings. So it's like, am I supposed to? And through the classroom, you also gain other social skills. Like, you gain like talking skills. You got to go up in front of the class and do a speech. Oh, wow, I've never done that before. How am I going to do this? You do it. It's probably very, very ugly at first, but then you get better at it and get better and better. And then it's like, okay, that's not as bad as I thought it would be. And maybe I've kind of, figured out this kind of thing where I do this and I get a better reaction. Or I actually practice it. I practiced it and I did better. You got that thing. Now we're all cooped up in our rooms, right? Doing Twitch streams, doing YouTube channels like my dumbass is doing right now. But like, I feel like I want to get out of this so corona phase and just be able to talk to people, go out to lunch, to dinner, all that stuff, because man, this is just insane. And I remember I did an episode of the Out of the Ordinary Friends podcast on way back, and I think it was like maybe May or June, and titled it "This Descent into Madness," because you literally walk around your home and the days become nights, the nights become the days, and nights become multiple days and nights, and the days and nights become weeks. And it's like, what is passing me by right now is life and like things I could do, people I can talk to. But no, I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be I don't want to be against the safety, because I do care about people. I don't want to get them sick. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything like super goddamn dangerous to other people. That was way back in May and all that, but now it's like, I think California's starting to open up again. So I think we're going to get a little bit more open up and doing things. The vaccine is out. People are getting it. Hopefully we can turn this around, because this is getting ridiculous. And oh boy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just miss my friends. I miss seeing them. I miss going to movies. I miss movies, man. I miss all that stuff. I miss going to see movies and getting to sit in that theater, watch the movie, whatever it is, whether it be bad or good, and just being in the moment and seeing what happens on screen, taking me away to other world, other reality, and just not worry about what's happening around me. Because man, I miss that so much. And I also play video games sometimes, but like, there hasn't been really a game that has, I don't know, like it's just you sit at the at the desk, the couch, the chair, whatever you do, you play your game, and then obviously you can talk to people, friends, and all that. But then it's just like, well, it's the same thing. I just want to see you, bro. I want to see you. I want to go out to lunch. I want to go out to eat, do stuff, please. Corona, please end. Anyways, off of the what will hopefully be the future, back to normal, hopefully. And I kind of want to get into things like I mentioned news stories. News stories. I went to school, the college, the university to study media and news, and I thought of maybe dissecting an article that I found, not too thoroughly. Be that in mind. I'm not a professional news guy anymore. I used to be, not anymore. I'm more of a fun guy, fun sports juvenile guy. But you know what? This story kind of doesn't really require all that much seriousness. Not a lot of business in it, but it's about Subway sandwiches, by the way. Apparently, that these two plaintiffs in oh shoot, my handwriting is so bad. I haven't written a lot in a while. When you go to summer break after school, and after maybe you're in high school or college or whatever. And you're writing constantly, right? You're taking notes and all that, and then you abruptly stop doing that and do summer things. And then it takes a while. I always had this problem. It would take me a while to get into the writing motion again, to just write a long-formed paragraph and all that, maybe a day or so. It's wow, why does my writing suck so bad? It was kind of like that because I haven't written in a long, long time. Anyway, back to the story. A lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court of Northern District of California attorney claims we found that the ingredients were not tuna and not fish in the sandwiches at Subway. Well, gee, you don't say. Now, I've never had consumed any of the Subway tuna, but I can tell you this, folks. There is no way that's tuna. I mean, come on. I've seen people eat that. I've smelt it. I regularly have tuna maybe once a month, maybe. You can't eat too much because of the mercury. But I've had tuna quite a few times in my life, and I can tell you this. That smells a bit different than what I eat. Now, I don't think it's because of the company that they put it in or, what they put into it. But what I'm saying is it smells a bit too much of fishier than tuna, because tuna has a certain smell. It's not like a salmon or a halibut. It's tuna. It smells like tuna. This one, however, smells like I haven't smelled a tuna from Subway in a while, but it smells a lot different than I think that regular tuna would smell like. But anyways, we'll get back into the article, and it's not that much, but finding no tuna in it, the plaintiffs, I won't say their names, probably. You can look it up. It's on the Washington Post. I can't really read it either. I written it so badly. And the thing is that I've seen people eat the tuna and enjoy it, and I've always wondered that maybe it's an additive or maybe they added MSG or something in it to make it taste good. Not it doesn't taste like tuna, but it tastes good. I've had tuna. Tuna is good, but the rate that these people, some people I've seen that get the sandwiches, it's every time they get tuna sandwiches. And I'm I'm not even that big of a Subway guy anyway. I used to be back in high school and college. Yeah, I had to eat it. But it was one point in college, actually, because my college had a food court, and that food court had Subway sandwiches. I went to the food court, and I'm you know what I'm going to have? I'm going to have a nice cold cut combo. That always hit the spot. I was a big bologna guy, and I think I had bologna and ham in it, maybe, and it was good at the time. But then I had it that one time in college, and I didn't live very close to college, so I had to commute there. And when I ate there, I made sure that I ate a lot because I had days that I was there from like 8 a.m. to 9, maybe 10 p.m. So I'm like, okay, I got to get something in me. And there was no way I was going to go to the goddamn store there and buy like a overly priced, you know, hand and a half sized sandwich. I just was not going to get that. It's like, there's no way that's going to fill me up. Absolutely no way. So I would go to Subway, the $5 foot long or whatever they had it, and maybe like six something now. And I got the sandwich, and I was like, why does it always smell like baked bread? Like, I never understood why it smelled like that. And I never asked. I was like, you know what? I'm none of my business. I'm just getting a sandwich and then going to eat it. So I got it, and I remember like the ingredients were just tasting really off. Like they did not taste fresh. They didn't taste bad either. They just had like not much of a taste. And this was back in 2019, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Subway never, ever used to taste this like dull to me. Like, and I was just like, what's happening here? And I thought like maybe it was because it was like a student run or student worked, establishment. But I always thought like maybe it's just like, maybe it's the ingredients that day. Maybe it's the ingredients. I'm like, okay, well, this sandwich is kind of bad. Maybe I'll try another one. So then I tried the Black Forest ham at home, not at school. And then I was like, this still doesn't taste that well. What is it? It used to be so good. So now I'm thinking like, wait a minute, Subway. Hold on. I know you're the big guy in the sandwich world. Like really, like nobody really comes close to you. Like Porta Subs is good, but it's not as well known as, Subway is. And then all the other sandwich shops are, superiorly better quality sandwiches, but like, you're not going to find them everywhere. You're going to find a Subway everywhere. And if you want a Subway sandwich, you're going to get the sandwich more than likely. And then I was like, well, maybe it's the way they make it. Maybe I'm not paying attention to the way they make it. Maybe I'm not seeing, because when I get my sandwich, when I order my sandwich, I say what I want. Then I go on my phone, and then I'm like, well, maybe they're not just doing it right. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're not putting all the oils and spices. Maybe they're not putting enough mayonnaise and mustard. And that's definitely not the case. They put a lot of mayonnaise and mustard. I'll tell you that much. But I think it's the way that they fold it now. The way they fold it. And that's not the taste area. That's not part of the taste. The taste, I think, is just the ingredients are just not as fresh. Not as fresh. I think why Subway, in my opinion, started to suck is because of the way they made their sandwiches. When you think about it, it's just a big, long hot dog bun, and they put sandwich stuff in it. And at the first time, I thought like, that's new when I very, very first had Subway. And then like, it obviously becomes, the normal. Like that's just how Subway looks and their sandwiches look. But I feel like a lot of the times nowadays, like when I see people get Subway, they're like very skimpy on the meat. They put a lot of veggies in it. They squeeze the mayonnaise and mustard in it, and then they fold it like a burrito almost when they, put it together. And that's where I saw that's the problem with Subway now. The sandwiches fall apart all the time. Now, unless you get like a very, very bare sandwich and a very, not a lot of things in it, but like if you're getting like lettuce, onions, tomato, bell pepper, jalapeno, whatever, waxed pepper, you're going to get a pretty hefty sandwich. And I just don't think that the bread is capable of, containing all that goodness in it. So that's my, what I'm thinking, like maybe that's why Subway's kind of gone down a bit, because like the sandwich they're making, the bread is like connected into one big hot dog bun. And that's just not a way to eat a sandwich, in my opinion. Now, the way they do it at Porta Subs, they actually have the two slices of bread. They cut it down the middle, and they put it on top of the sandwich, like a sandwich you would make at home. And I'm just like, that is so much. Why don't they do that? I that was always a big freaking thing of mine. Like, why don't they just cut the bread down the middle and then make the sandwich like that? Why do they have to be like, make it like this hot dog, modified hot dog bun, big giant hot dog bun, do it like that? I never really understood that, and it was always kind of puzzling me, and I was just like, okay, whatever. So yeah, back to the tuna. I remember one day in college. I swear to God, this guy just wanted to make the most smelliest, stinkiest, unappetizing, I guess to him, sandwich on earth. I'm not kidding you here. I was behind him, and he ordered a tuna sandwich with red onion, and that's it. And I was thinking to myself, like, that guy just doesn't want anybody near him. This has got to be some kind of repellent. Like either he put on deodorant by accident, or he took a shower by accident, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna smell good. People are gonna come near me. Fuck. I know what. I'll get a tuna sandwich with onion from Subway sandwiches. And I'm just thinking, like, does this guy not want to have a conversation or talk to anybody or be near anybody? Because you're gonna eat that and you're gonna be, I'm gonna tell you, man, you're gonna stink for a while. Like, and that that news article just like kind of brought back memories of Subway and the one time somebody ordered a sandwich that was just I just knew like was gonna be repellent. Like, okay, bro, maybe you did shower on accident or put on deodorant by accident, but like, hey, gotta do what you gotta do. So that was my news story of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed that. That's what I'm kind of looking for, like maybe silly, not so serious news stories that I can just kind of talk about life experiences, other things like that. And hopefully, more will come. More will show their light to me. More, I will see more. I mean, I usually get my news from Twitter, maybe Reddit. I don't really watch all that much news because I don't know. I just don't like it. And that's pretty much where I get my news. And I know that maybe that might not be the best, but it's a learning process. I'll get better. I'll learn on the way. And hopefully that was fun. Like I said before, the day is February 4th. In 3 days, we get the Super Bowl, baby. Oh, wait a minute. The big game. The grand sporting event. I'm only saying that because I don't want to get in trouble for saying Super Bowl, even though I'm not making any money yet off of this. But yeah, people who know me, I love watching football. I love it. I love it to death. I love watching sports, but mainly football. Football is just one of those sports where I always feel like it's so much fun. A lot of things can happen. And it's very like, bang, bang. It's very high paced. It's very, I don't want to say violent, but it's pretty high contact, high impact. It can be violent though. I will say that some hits can get pretty bad, which is not a good thing. But it's always like I always feel like I'm watching like a battle, like a war going on. I always feel like I'm watching like a conflict of two minds, defense, offense, trying to figure out each other, battling it out, and trying to get the better hand and the upper hand. And it's really fun to watch. I think like I really love it. I also love baseball. I love watching the Premier League soccer. I feel like the Premier League is one of the most highly competitive leagues professionally in the world. It's almost like the NBA in a way, but I actually don't really like the NBA all that much. Not because I don't like basketball. I think basketball's fun. It can be a little repetitive in a way, but like because of all the scoring, and I kind of like scoring to be a little bit more not as, I don't know, it's weird. Like I enjoy when a game gets like tense, when it's like neck and neck at the fourth quarter or the last 2 minutes. I like that. But like when it's just like in the beginning and it's just like back and forth, I kind of zone out a bit. I don't know. I'm weird like that. But I do like baseball too. A lot of people don't like baseball anymore. I enjoy it. I enjoy the tension between the battle between the pitcher and the hitter. I like the matchups and all that. I like all that stuff. But I really, really enjoy watching football. Really, really do. And the Super Bowl is coming up this big game coming up this weekend. On the 7th, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, those Chiefs. Doing it again. And being played in Tampa Bay with the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. Now I know that a lot of people don't like Tom Brady. I know that. the cheating, Deflategate, Spygate, Tuck Rule. I get that. I understand all that, those criticisms and all that. I understand that. But I mean, god damn. Tom Brady already has 6 Super Bowl championships. He's on a new team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New team, new head coach, new system, new location, new everything, and takes them all the way to the Super Bowl in his first season with the team. I mean, if he wins, bro, I mean, in my mind, he is already the greatest. But if he wins, which I don't think he will be the greatest, not only quarterback, not only football player, but maybe the greatest American athlete of all time. Like, of all time. I can't see any other scenario where you could say that somebody's better. I really can't, because he's done everything. And it's just not just because he can throw the ball far, or like a quarterback does. You can't just like throw the ball farther or faster or, more accurate than the other person. But he's able to lead people and get trust from people and move them around and say, let's try this, let's try that, and try, take a risk on this and that and that and that, and succeed in it all with new players all the time. And, granted, like, he's been in New England for like the past like almost 2 decades, but still, the way he does it and the way he keeps succeeding, even without Belichick in Tampa Bay, is just unreal, man. I can't. I don't know how you can say, like, this has never been done before at the way he's doing it. He's already got 6 Super Bowls. Now he's going to go for a 7th. I mean, this is unbelievable. And at home, at Tampa Bay, like, this was a match. This is like a picture-perfect scenario to happen for Tom Brady. Picture perfect. This is so perfect that nobody could write this any better. And he's not going to retire if he wins. If he loses, probably not. Maybe. But if he wins, he ain't going to retire. He's going to go for another one. I know he will. Because I thought that he would retire after he won his last one in with the Patriots. Didn't do it. I was like, nah, man. I got more in me. I know I can do it. I think he said, like, I'm going to retire when I start to suck. And I think we can all kind of collectively agree this year. Well, I know he's in the Super Bowl. He was a bit rustier. He was a little bit on the older side when it comes to throwing the ball, when it comes to throwing it accurately, when it comes to running, when it comes to doing some things with that little mental breakdown that he had against the Chicago Bears. I think it was the 4th down incident. Other than that, though, he's been very, very good. And there's no way that after that first game against the Saints when they lost, I was like, there's no way they're going to go back. There's no way they're going to go. Like, he's got to, even though he had Gronk, Mike Evans, Ronald Jones, damn voice, and then acquired Antonio Brown. I was like, there's no way. Like, even though they had all those players, like, I didn't see them making the Super Bowl. Then they did. I'm like, wow. I couldn't believe it. So the Super Bowl matchup, we got Tom Brady against Patrick Mahomes, who just defeated the Buffalo Bills, who I thought would make it to the Super Bowl. And now if you follow me on Twitter, I tweet a lot about sports. And I said, very unsoberly, you can find it. It's on New Year's Day, I tweeted the Buffalo Bills. This might be a non-sober tweet, but the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl. Now I was dead wrong on that. Because the Chiefs are so goddamn good. I mean, they're so damn good. Like, I'm taking the Chiefs in this game. Like, I think that they'll win. But I don't know, man. Tom Brady just beat Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. I was like, oh, man. Like, if anybody can beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, it is Tom Brady and the Bucs. But also, I mean, Tom Brady just beat Drew Brees. He beat Aaron Rodgers. If anybody can beat Tom Brady, it is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is one of the biggest matchups I've seen in a while for the Super Bowl. Like, this is a big matchup. It's not like a franchise you would expect to be in, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who don't really have a huge, like a big old, maybe not fan base, but a recognition across the league. I mean, for the longest time, they were pretty much a joke for a while. I mean, they had Jameis Winston, who's now on the Saints, is going to be the future quarterback, I think. But, I mean, he was an interception machine back in Tampa, bro. He was not very good. And then putting in Tom Brady just makes him absolutely, deadly to face. I mean, that offense on what they had in Tampa, but also the defense on Tampa's very good too, man. They're very, very good. They stopped Aaron Rodgers they contained him. Did a very good job on them. I was surprised because I expected the Packers to win. But I was like, the way they came out and just stopped Aaron Rodgers. And again, I think Aaron Rodgers was kind of trying to play to Devontae Adams a bit more than he should have. And maybe they should have gone for it on 4th down with 2 minutes left. I mean, you're going to give the ball back to Tom Brady. You never want to do that with all that much time left. Never. I don't care. You take your chances when you can see them. When they're right in front of you, you take your chances, and you should have taken that chance right there. You blew that chance. Then there was all this, what's going to happen now? Is Aaron done in Green Bay? I don't think so. No way he's done. He embodies that city so well, and that culture, that football culture in Green Bay so well. I don't see him leaving. And I think on an interview with Pat McAfee, I think I saw it. It was maybe like a week and a half ago. I think he said like he wasn't going to leave. I think, but I could be wrong. We'll see what the future holds. But I don't think he's leaving. Super Bowl should be a good one. As long as it's not like the one with the Patriots and the Rams, who I will say is breaking news on this podcast. And I know that a lot of people think that I'm weird about this, and I know that it seemed very, very, very weird. But for the longest time, I did not have an NFL team to support until I kind of became basic and decided to be a Rams fan. That's right, everybody. How original. Alex Silva is a Los Angeles Rams fan. Woohoo! And I actually kind of am, though. I really, really am, though. And I feel like I have a bit of a duty to Rams fans out there and to Rams football. That duty is to be rabid, passionate, and literally be a burden to everybody else in the division. What I did with baseball. If you don't know this, I'm a baseball fan as well. I love the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are my team. They have been my team for years. My dad grew up with them, and now I did. Now, I'm a big LA Dodgers fan, or have been for a while, but I'm a big Rams fan. And what I've noticed about being a Rams fan and being like around them and observing the Rams since they've moved back to LA back in, 2016, I think? Yeah. Their fans LA is not a football town. Right? They're basketball, baseball, even MLS soccer, occasionally hockey with the Kings, but they're not really a football town. Like when I saw how much stuff, it was a game against Pittsburgh, I think. They were playing in the Coliseum, and the majority of the fans there were Pittsburgh. Like they just overtook LA from the Rams. And I'm thinking, like, what's the deal with LA? Do they just not like them? Do they not want them back? Do they not care? I just think that they're not a football town. And I'm going to be hopefully leading the charge on bringing the Rams' passion back. Mainly on Twitter. Right now we can't because, But I hope to do that, and that's kind of a breaking news story about my fandoms in football. Should be a good game. Hopefully it's a good game. If it's not a good game, well then, it was our fault for overhyping it. We did everything we thought it would be good. We thought it would be a great matchup, but if it is a good game, we're in for a treat. Hopefully. We'll see about that, though. I hope it's good. I hope it's very good. Please be good. I don't know if they're going to have fans there. They are in Florida. Florida is very rabid about things that they do. Every news story I read is Florida man, Florida woman. It's like, okay, yeah, it's Florida. Obviously, Florida. I wonder why that is. I guess because I never really thought that Florida was crazy. Like, I knew, like, back in the day, I knew Miami was pretty party, nightlife, kind of like in LA, but a bit more tropical and beachy and laid back. And I don't know, I feel like when you go to Miami, you gotta dress in all white with a white fedora, white shoes, get on a boat, have a drink, go to a club with some neon lights, mostly blue and pink, and then just have a time of your life. And I've been to LA, like LA Live area and all that, and downtown, and I know downtown's not that great, but like there are some bars there, but they're not, I would imagine like Miami's like, from movies, like Bad Boys is like much more tropical, crazy. People like to be around people more, and But I kind of wanted to give some advice about sports. If you are like me and like sports and enjoy watching sports, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, soccer, I shouldn't say hockey. I don't really watch hockey. Mainly because I live in California. I did not grow up in, New York, Boston, Rhode Island, the East Coast. There's a lot of hockey there. Hockey in school, hockey in college, city league hockey. None of that here, where I live at least. None that I've seen, but like there's like none of that here. But I couldn't really get into hockey because I can't see the puck. Could not see the puck for the life of me. I tried once when the Kings were in the Stanley Cup, and I was like, wait a minute. Where's the puck, bro? Like, okay, there it is. Where is it? Okay, there it is. They're getting close to the goal. Where is it? Oh, wait, did he miss? Oh, he missed. Okay, yeah. Okay, they got it back again. They got it back again. Okay, shoot. Did he shoot? Bounced off. I don't think he did. Did it go? Oh, his hands are up. It went in. That's kind of like that was my experience of watching hockey. Anyway, so being a person who likes sports and watching sports, there's always some people that try to say they're very anti-sport. Like you would say, I'm watching the game. Or did you watch the game? Asking a question. No, I don't watch sports. I don't watch baseball. I don't watch football. I don't watch sports. I'm like, okay, man. Sorry. And then they're like, you do? I'm like, yeah, I do. I watch a lot of sports. And then they're like, why? Oh, because it's fun. I enjoy the competition. I enjoy the storylines. I enjoy that. Wait, what do you mean storyline? What are you talking about? Storyline. You just watch them throw the ball or shoot the ball or pass the ball or score a goal or a touchdown or a run. That's all you do. That's it. That's all you watch. I'm like, and I look to myself and think that, oh, I get it now. You're not getting the full experience. You're just sitting there and just watching somebody throw. I get it. What I'm trying to say is that I think that they're missing something. And I've thought about this for a while because I'm thinking like, you know what, I have friends that like sports. I have some friends that don't, obviously, but some of them do, others don't, and when they don't like any of it. Pre-game, actual game, post-game, halftime, they don't watch any of it. And this is going to be a bit of a stretch, and if you want to get into sports, if you want to try to see why people do it, there's two options. You got maybe three. You got fantasy, whatever you do, make it a local or a competition with your friends, family, whatever. Do that. Try to get into it like that. Maybe see some games. We'll have a watch along party. Maybe not now, but when you did, try that. Watch some games. Number 2 is betting. I am not a betting man, so I have never experienced it like this. But I hear a lot of people like sports through betting. You could do that. But then it's very hard, I feel like, when I watch people who bet on sports all the time. Like, it's weird because, like, do you like your team? You know what I mean? Like, if you bet against them, why would if you do that, it's like, I don't know, man. It's a little bit there's a little gray area there that I guess I don't understand, but that's just my experience of like seeing people and watching people who bet on sports a lot. When they get into betting, I'm like, I don't know if that's for me. This third one will take some time, but I guarantee you should feel a little bit more of a connection to sports and sporting events and all that. And that's to do the homework. It's not that hard. Take the Super Bowl, for instance. You can turn on the game at the pregame. Get a little bit of a backstory on the players. How they got there. What's their mindset like right now? What do they do? How do they prepare? How's the coach doing? How's the receivers doing? The running back, the quarterback, whatever. Get into that and try to watch that and try to see that. This is a perfect opportunity to do it because the Super Bowl is so big and it's covered massively. So maybe get into the pregame, see who's actually playing, see who's on the team maybe, and then be able to kind of make a connection that way on, maybe they have an interview, sit down, a feature, whatever, and you watch that and you kind of get a better feeling of who's actually competing in the game. See, I feel like I do watch the pregame. Other people don't, but they still like sports, but, maybe not as much as I do. Maybe they do. But I feel like for me, the pregame, the halftime, the postgame, all big keys to liking sports, man. It's all a big key because then you learn about, well, this happened in their family, or this happened to their mother, their father, their brother, and then you get that brought into the, commentators like Joe Buck will say it, or Troy Aikman, or Al Michaels, or whatever. They'll bring that up, and it's like, oh yeah, you learn about these stories that are behind the player, and they don't just seem like preppy jockey players and all that. They just seem like there's a bit of a story there behind them. So when you learn more about that, and you learn how to kind of like see the storylines and see how it all plays out for the one team, the opposing team, your team, the rival team, whatever it is, and then you build all that up, and then you get all that information, and then it becomes like a big grand story that's like maybe 3 hours long, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Now I see why I root for this guy or that guy, or then you pick and choose. Maybe that's how you discover a team that you like, or maybe a player that you love, or something like that, or somebody you can support. So I feel like that would be a little bit more harder than fantasy. Definitely not as you won't lose money against betting, if you would choose to do betting. But it's more like it requires a lot more attention and a lot more dedication, I think. But I think it would make the sports watching event, game, Super Bowl, match, whatever, much, much more interesting. Much more interesting. And I feel like if I did that with hockey, I think I can do it. Maybe. And I maybe I'm just an old guy, an idiot, a moron for a better term. Maybe if I just watch more hockey, I'll be able to see the puck better, can see how the play's gonna, how the builds up to the goal and all that. See it a lot better, because when I watched it that time, I was just like, "What's happening? I do not know what is happening." And yeah, I think that would be a good thing to do. I think it would not make me seem like such a moron when it comes to hockey. Other sports, though, I think I'm have a good deal of knowledge about, and I think that, yeah, watch the pregame. Check it out. Then the halftime. Then the post game. Because then you get the emotional part about the post game, because you got a winner and a loser who's going to be, where do they go from here? Did you win the big game? Did you win the game that you had to win? What happens then? It's all going to be, it all comes into full circle when you do the pregame, game, halftime, postgame. It all comes together. And I think if you want to get into sports and you don't understand them, why you like them, or why people like them, watch the pregame, postgame, halftime, and then the game. Then you'll see how people like me watch them all the time and see that it can be very fun and uplifting and make people happy, and other times make people sad. And then you kind of get a full dramatized, because there's some dramatics in sporting events, and then there's like the play that's got to be perfect, but obviously it can't be perfect because we're all human and we're never perfect. And then there's refereeing officials and all that drama, and then it's just like a big movie that you never know what's going to happen. And then it's like the passions are so very, very seen. You can see like how emotional people get and all that. And it just really, really brings like joy to my heart. It really, really does. So that's some advice. If you don't watch sports, don't know why people watch sports, don't think that, can't stand why people watch sports, maybe, that's it's a little bit of a insight to where people who do watch sports are coming from. Also, if you played it back when you were a kid, you're probably going to watch it. Probably going to born and raised into it. Born to enjoy it. Born to play it. It was drilled into your mind some way, shape, or form. And then that's just, another person's route into sports. I was never really the most athletic kid. I mean, I remember, I played Little League, then I played Little League soccer, and then I played, school soccer for 1 year in high school, and then I didn't do it because it was so hard, such a big time commitment. And, I feel like a lot of the people who talk more about sports definitely did not play sports, and that I fall into that category 100%. I mean, it's pretty, spot on the way that stereotype, that assumption occurs and is actually true. It's kind of funny, actually. So we're about the 58-minute mark in this podcast, and I think I did an okay job. Maybe got off on a tangent or two. Maybe got away from me a bit. But I feel like I did an okay job. I think I did all right. It definitely took some turns that I thought I did not think that I would take. It definitely did expose a bit of my jadedness towards hockey and how I'm kind of a moron about hockey, watching and scoring and all that, and maybe a bit of a biasery towards my passion for LA sports, and why maybe you didn't really know that I was such a rabid fan of the Dodgers, and why I think that I could bring that to the Rams. Maybe you didn't know that I encountered somebody who tried to put on a sandwich repellent from Subway. Maybe you didn't know that I was in band. I mean, when I was a little kid, maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you didn't know that the 4th grade was my favorite year of school. Maybe you didn't know that I was kind of a shy kid from the way I talk. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you thought I was some kind of class clown. Maybe I was very outgoing. No, I was not. I was not that at all. And now with this podcast, I'm able to experience and share and hopefully interview and have conversations with people on other things, mainly to have some fun. We only know nothing. We know nothing about what 2021 is going to hold for us. We know nothing. We know how is next week going to go, the next month, eventually the next year. We don't know that. We can only hope that we can travel on this journey together as long as we can and have the most fun with it, because, life is very, very short. Life is very short. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the world is going to happen. What if we There could be an earthquake. There could be a massive shift in the plates. There could be a big old wave coming about. There could be a volcano erupt. There could be a bomb dropped. We don't know. We really have no idea what's going to happen. So the aliens could finally show up, please. I really want that to happen, but we don't know. Bigfoot could come out of my toilet and strangle me to death, and then that'll be it. Or Bigfoot, an army of Bigfoots can come out of our toilets and strangle us to death. We don't know. We don't know. We just don't know. And that's the beauty of life. And one last thing I think I'll leave before I sign off on this first episode of the Intelligent Moron is that I kind of started to do this thing. I waited till the end because I don't know if it'll work or not. I've been in the process of kind of jotting down things that I think that are funny and a bit of a jokey joke, if I would say. This is definitely not like I wrote it down and I was kind of like toying with it, and I was kind of like, is this funny? And I was like, do I show my family? I don't know, man. But I think I would kind of, it's a bit of an observation of like everyday life, whether you have like a mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, whatever you have, you can kind of see this in other people, and I've seen videos of it too. But, you kind of see this, and it's a bit of an observation, and it's like, I think it's kind of funny. So, sometimes when we are living our lives, we'll have a run-in with a bit of an unwanted animal in our life. Not sure why, but it just happens. I mean, you can run across, you can be like hiking and run across a deer, like, hey, there's a deer. Hey, cool, there's a deer. There, and then you can maybe be swimming in the ocean and run across a dolphin. Hey, there's a dolphin, or hey, there's a tuna right there. Maybe even a school of tuna, a barracuda, swordfish, whatever. And those animals are usually pretty pleasant, and they're inviting. Usually, a dolphin I don't think has been known to kill people. Maybe a deer, usually not a buck, maybe, but and then there's this unwanted animal that's really you don't want to see around you. You want it to, lack of a better term, shoo them away. And that's the entire joke, I think, is why do we have this mentality to shoo away an animal that's unwanted? I mean, what is the deal with that? I don't understand that. Like, is that going to shoo away the cat? Like, if, there's an unwanted cat, what do you do usually? Shh, 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 shh. And you stomp your foot. Shh, shh, shh. I mean, what is that? I mean, what are we doing here? If I was that person, I'd be like, get the hell off my goddamn lawn, cat. What are you doing? This is my house. Get off. I'm not going to go, shh, 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 shh. Oh, God forbid you actually hiss at the cat. Oh, my God. And then... And then it was kind of funny because I saw this video, it went viral, of a dude getting followed by a puma in the mountains. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. That's like the number one or number two, one of the most unwanted animal encounters you could ever, be a part of. And then I'm watching the video, and I can't help but like kind of face palm a bit when this guy is literally just like saying, "Rah! Get out!" I'm just like, oh my God, what have we done? We're not animals. He doesn't know what we're saying. When we roar, I don't think he understand what we're saying. I don't think so. Just yell. Get the fuck out. Just yell. Don't stoop down to this shushing, this roaring, this hissing at animals, unwanted animals. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. You look very, 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 very foolish, I would say, and it looks weird. But then again, if I saw a kitty cat and I said, "Get the fuck out of here, cat," and then my neighbor sees me, I think it'd be just as, if not more, embarrassing. than shushing the cat. Anyways, that was a bit of a joke that I wrote. It was probably really bad, so I saved it for the end. So thank you again for joining me on the very, very first episode of the Intelligent Moron podcast. I am Alex Silva. You will be able to find this on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and on YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. It would be very appreciative if you would rate, subscribe maybe, write a review, let me know how I did. What do you want to see maybe? If you want to, do maybe a Skype call, Zoom, whatever, we could probably get that going. Maybe hold back on the interviews lately. I want to kind of get my bearings on this and kind of get, my foot in the door doing a solo podcast, because I am, if you can't already tell, I am by myself. There is nobody else here but me. No co-host, no producer, no nobody. It's just me. So, if you want to, I will reach out. I will see what we can do, schedule a date. I usually like to get these out midweek, and I know I said Thursday, but that's not necessarily maybe going to be the not necessarily going to be the official day. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Friday. Definitely not on the weekend, I don't think. I would like to do this more on the weekday. So thank you again for joining. My name is Alex Silva, and I will see you next week.